Welcome to the Western New York Athletics High School Football Preview Show for the Monsignor Martin League. We're coming to you from the Big Tree Inn, and as always, the Monsignor Martin League providing plenty of entertainment for both the big and the smaller schools. And last season was quite a year. St. Francis took it to the state championship game, I believe. Tom and I did that game on a cold night in November, but it was a great game. And Tim Chifa, you are the man for the Monsignor Martin League.
Yeah. So just to quickly talk about last year, guys, it was I would think the biggest maybe surprise was probably St. Joe's, coming from 1-7 the year before to 6-2 last year. I believe they beat Canisius earlier in the season.
I know they lost to them, but they had a lead on them at halftime.
Oh, they had a lead on them at halftime. Okay. But going from 1-7, Coach Corona really had that program turned around, and that's going in the right direction. But St. Francis, Tom, I'm not sure you can contest it. The line is just ridiculous. They're just huge. I mean, you can't not talk about St. Francis without talking about Marcus Harrison, who is going to Georgia.
Come on, Georgia, folks.
Georgia.
Yeah, the real Georgia. 6'8", 315 pounds. Just one of the best linemen I've seen, in a long time. So just a really fun year, Monsignor Martin last year, and I expect this year to be no different.
Yeah, I mean, listen, nobody expects Canisius to have another down year, right? So there's going to be a lot of eyes on that.
Well, you say down year. Keep in mind, they beat St. Joe's twice, and they still beat Aquinas.
Okay.
No, I agree about down year, but that's a good down year for most teams.
Well, but St. Joe's will tell you. I mean, they're still in the upload. Remember, they had a 1-win team before that. Yeah. The expectation. If I came into the year and I said to Canisius, you were going to lose a game to St. Joe's, what would be their reaction?
Oh, no.
Laugh.
No, they would definitely. No, what I'm saying is, for most programs, if you say you beat St. Joe's twice and beat Aquinas, they're not calling that a down year.
I get that, but we're looking for what it really was this year, right?
No, for Canisius it was.
When your expectations are to win a championship every year, it's a down year.
It should be. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
This St. Francis team is unbelievable, and it begins with a line, and Coach knows that. I mean, he knows it.
Absolutely.
And he is, you could see, gets some of the very best linemen that are out there. That's why I always say when you talk about teams moving up in divisions, right, or try to be able to play with a team that's in an upper division, you got to be able to compete with usually that bigger line. And if you can, it ain't going to happen.
Yep.
And then, guess what? There's going to be none of the teams sitting in those small schools. You better watch out, because there is a small team that could come up and upset some of these large school teams too.
Yeah, I assume Timon you're talking about?
100%.
Talking about Timon, right?
Oh, 100%.
Yeah, Timon had another great year last year. They did win the B championship, the 6-3 record, and they are returning 10 players on offense and 10 players on defense. That's
good luck, opponents.
Exactly. That's pretty nice to have for Coach Weiser.
This team is going to give people fits. And I'm going to tell you, if you are in that upper division and you have them on their schedule, watch out. They're going to be a team that's going to be tough.
Yeah, I mean, you have James McNeil at running back. You still have the returning duo of Dominic Altazone and I forget the wide receiver's name, but yeah, they put up 1,000 yards, just the two of them, and they were only a freshman and sophomore last year. That team is going to be something. They might get their way. Obviously, not this year or next, but. If Coach Weiser can continue to build that program, we could be seeing where they kind of rejoin those top-tier teams where they only were just a few years ago, and they're competing for that. They're competing with Joe's and Canisius and St. Francis. Yeah. So I think, very bright future, I think, for the Tigers.
So, Tim, you want to run down the teams? Isn't that what you're doing, running down these teams?
Yeah, so this year the A division for the Monsignor Martin, the bigger schools, St. Francis, St. Joe's, and then Canisius. And then the B division is Cardinal O'Hara, Timon, and then St. Mary's of Lancaster.
And which team suffered the most losses from last season? St. Francis lost their quarterback and their running back. The kid and Otrumba have both graduated.
Plus, they lost some key linemen. I mean, they've lost some key linemen. Remember, they had two Trench Trophy finalists, right? Yep. One from the defensive side of the ball, one from the offensive side of the ball. I mean, they've losing some key, spots, but this is like what we talk about Lancaster, you know what I mean, and Orchard Park and Bennett, right?
Yep.
This is the same thing. He's retooled. He's ready to go.
Absolutely. Take a break or?
Okay. Anything else you want to say about any of these teams going forward?
Honestly, it's a three-way race that you talk about up front, and we want to see how it plays out. And then we also believe that Timon is going to have a play in theirs, and I think that St. Mary's of Lancaster and Cardinal O'Hara is going to struggle with Timon.
All right, we're going to take a break, and we'll come back. You're watching Western New York Athletics High School Football Preview Show for the Monsignor Martin League, coming to you from the Big Tree Inn. We'll be back after this short break.
Logistics Plus is a global transportation provider headquartered in Erie, PA, with locations worldwide, including right here in Western New York. Logistics Plus is consistently recognized as a fast-growing transportation and logistics company, great supply chain partner, top freight broker, leading project cargo manager, and a great place to work. With a strong passion for excellence, our 500-plus employees put the plus in logistics. Call our Buffalo office today for an efficient, personal approach for all of your transportation needs.
Welcome back to the Western New York Athletics High School Football Preview Show for the Monsignor Martin League, coming to you from the Big Tree Inn in Orchard Park. And Tim Chief is now going to run down the teams in the Monsignor Martin League for us, who gained, who lost, who's up, who's down. Go ahead, Tim.
Okay, so we'll start with Cardinal O'Hara, who is coached by Sean Mangolds. I believe it's his third season. They were 1-6 last year. They have 8 returners on the offense, 8 on defense, so that's a nice thing to look forward to this year. Key returning players, Jarrell Green, Jackson Ross, Samarian Threet, Jake Green, Gabe Couchinger, and Kala Ford, who was their quarterback. We had a chance to interview him earlier last year. So a nice 1-2 punch they have going with the quarterback receiver. Coach Mangold feels that Green is one of the top receivers in Western New York, and looks for good things from him. We'll move on to St. Joe's. We mentioned them earlier. They came off a 6-2 record. Coach Corona has 5 returning on the offense, 7 returning on the defense. Some of the key returning players: Peyton Brock, Mike O'Grady, Christian Perry, Benedict Musumbu, Charlie Mibrant, John Judge, Brady McElroy, Dorian Buckley, and Ryan Musia. Some of the key new players: Jeremiah Guerrero, Giorgio Panapino, Dylan Capone, Cal Gunther, Mike Lanier, Breon Campbell, and George Coons. One of the things that Coach Corona did mention to us in writing back to us is that he's got 23 seniors this year, and all of them played since they were freshmen together. And that was actually Coach Corona's first year also. So, this is their year. This is the year they expect to do good things at St. Joe's with, 23. That's a lot of leadership right there. So a lot of guys have been playing together for a long time. 23
seniors, and I think they have throughout all 3 teams, I think they have 100 kids in the program, or nearly 100 kids. Coach Corona's really been building that up, and I think this is kind of his breakout year for this team, just to really take the next step. You came close to Canisius. Can you get over that hump and beat him this year?
Right, absolutely. And then we talked about Timon, who really has a ton of talent coming back. We mentioned 10 on the offense, 10 on the defense. They were 6-3 and the Class B champions last year. You mentioned James McNeil, who is the Class B Player of the Year. He is the running back. Dominic Anzalone, Gerald McLeod, Richard Smith, Clarence Prude, Damaris Petaway, Javion Newark, Kellen Hopkins, Cameron Lattimore, and LaRon Beaumont. Some new players: Vital Dickens, Jaliel Davis, and Paris Scott Jr. And again, like you mentioned, Tom, this is a team that could really has the talent to do some damage, not just in the Class B, but even with the big boys. That's no walkover game for sure by any of those guys. We did not hear back from St. Mary's or Canisius. Canisius last year 5-5. We mentioned they do have Jaden Clark, the receiver, coming back. Looks like there's a little bit of a quarterback battle from what I'm hearing. One of the kids is from Canada. His name's Nicholas.
Oh no, he transferred.
Oh, he's the one that transferred.
Yeah,
he's the one that transferred. Okay, I'm sorry. And then they have the Darrell Howard Dolson, who's the running back, I believe.
Yeah,
So,
and I think Clark is. We saw him a couple times last year. He's electrifying. Sophomore. And what did we hear? He had looks from big time schools, Syracuse even.
Yeah. Yes.
And that was only he just barely started his sophomore year, and he was getting that kind of looks. I think this kid is going to be something special.
Yep.
I imagine Zimmerman's coming back. I know he took over midway through the year.
That's what I read.
yeah.
Yeah, and I think, remember, this was a super young team last year. I think, was it Mike Doctor was the only senior on offense? Extremely young team. And this is, full off season for Coach Rosansky. We'll see what he's really able to, bring into this program. He was at Will South for a long time where there isn't as much quote-unquote, I'm going to say a bad word to somebody, recruiting. But he's going to kind of do that. He's going to find players, and I'll be really interested to see who he can bring into his program to go along with the Jaden Clark and some of those other pieces and see what he comes up with this year.
And they're doing what I think every high school football fan in our area wants to see. They're playing Lancaster again. They're starting that, and I think that's great for sports fans. That we want to see the best play the best, and not to leave out obviously St. Francis, who was the Class A champions last year, 6-4. They were returning 6 on the offense, 7 on defense, and again, like we spoke about earlier, Marcus Harrison going the Georgia commit. The real Georgia Bulldogs, 6'8", 315-pound lineman. If you have not seen him play, get to a St. Francis game, or better yet, watch it on Western New York Athletics. He is someone that you might be seeing on Sunday someday.
Is there another Georgia? Am I missing something here?
Well,
it's just rare that you have someone going.
I just want to confuse it's not another kind of Georgia.
Yeah. I get that. I just wanted to make sure there wasn't some other Georgia.
It's just so rare that you see someone going to that school. It was such a powerhouse now.
To go to the SEC, period.
Exactly, right? Yeah.
No doubt. No doubt.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to take another quick break, and we're going to come back, and we're going to make our picks. You're watching the Western New York Athletics High School Football Preview Show for the Monsignor Martin League, coming to you from the Big Tree Inn. We'll be back after this short break.
Western New York Immediate Care's new locations are now open. Whether you've suffered a minor injury or just aren't feeling well, Western New York Immediate Care provides safe, quick, high-quality care at an affordable cost. Our clinicians are trained to diagnose and treat non-life-threatening injuries and illnesses and are equipped with on-site x-ray and labs to help you feel better, faster. With 4 convenient locations open 7 days a week, Western New York Immediate Care is here to help when and where you need us. Visit us online to learn more.
Welcome back to the Western New York Athletics High School Football Preview Show for the Monsignor Martin League, coming to you from the Big Tree Inn in Orchard Park. Now, we have our picks for who's coming out of which division here. It'll be easier in the smaller division, and I think we'll probably all pick Bishop Timon. Now, in the bigger division, that's where it gets a lot tougher. Do you really want to pick against head coach Jerry Smith? I really don't. And Craig Krasansky. But it looks like this just might be St. Joe's year. If they've got 23 experienced players coming back, that's a huge numbers. So I am going to go with, believe it or not, St. Joe's based on those numbers. And I know Jerry Smith will retool. Craig Krasansky will do the same thing. But I'm going to go with St. Joe's and Coach Corona.
I think St. Joe's is going to be Canisius this year, but it's going to be St. Francis division. You can't argue with that line. You still have Terrence Pendergrass back, who I think he had 700-800 yards as the second running back option behind Ricardo Kidd, who was a Connolly Cup finalist. I have full faith that Pendergrass is going to step into the running back 1 and 2. They're going to find someone else who's going to step into that running back 2 position. Yeah, I think they're still going to be the team to beat in Monsignor Martin.
Yeah, I hate to go against O'Hara, which I'm sorry to do that, but I do think they are maybe 2 years away from, with that quarterback receiver connection where they can compete maybe in a couple more years. But obviously, I think Timon is the the class of the small schools for Class B. And then I agree. I think the best line, and in my opinion, the best coaching staff goes to St. Francis, and I'm going to go with St. Francis to repeat as the A champions.
Well, I've already said Timon on the B. Everybody knows. I mean, I was very vocal about that from the minute we started. I think Timon is going to be something special this year, and I won't be surprised if something happens. I'm sorry, though. I'm going to be the running back right now, running right behind Harrison right there, and I'm going to take right now St. Francis for the way to go right in there. I just think there's a lot there and a lot to overcome. But that line, always from an offensive and defensive standpoint, has been one of the differences for whoever wins Monsignor Martin, right? I don't care who it is. And I just think that line right now, that edge goes to St. Francis.
All right, that is going to do it. Thank you all. For Francis Beck, Tim Chifa, Tom Prince, and our producer Tim Gardner, my name is Stu Boyer. Thank you for watching the Western New York Athletics High School Football Preview Show for the Monsignor Martin League from the Big Tree Inn in Orchard Park. Thank you for watching, and have a good night, everybody.